About Thursday night's class. Technical announcements first. Next week, because of, I'm embarrassed to say because of, but as a result of living 90-something miles away and Chanukah, there will not be a shiur, not Wednesday, not Thursday. We're off next week as a result of Chanukah. I'm sorry, but Adlakat Neirot with the family and that, which the Rambam writes, even you got to stop learning to light candles. So what should we do? But I hope you go learn somewhere else Thursday and you don't spend the night on parties. Because to spend Hanukkah on parties would be a very shallow way of spending such a great time. We know that tonight we'll try and talk about Hanukkah and a little bit about the parasha. And Bezat Hashem, it should be l'toelet. Tonight's shiur is for the Hatzlacha of Mordechai ben Kuya. Bez Hashem, you should be very successful. B'chol ha'inyanim.
Amen, amen.
B'simcha v'nachat v'chol tuf. Oh, thank you, Tzaddik. Fine. So here we go. We speak every year the inyanim of Chanukah, each time in a different way. And this year we know that we'll talk based on what HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us today. So, I have a brother-in-law, my wife's brother. Ba'aleinu should never know. He's battling a cancer. Hashem should send him a refuah shlema.
Amen.
So today he went through treatments. Not a pleasant thing. Only Sonei Yisrael should know about these things. And I'm saying this over that this should be a refuah shlema, and we should learn a lesson from this. Guy comes out of a hospital after all their treatments. Normally, doesn't want to know anything, doesn't want to see anybody. Hashem Yirachem, we should never know, only in Sonei Yisrael from now on. And he came to the house, and he was sitting by the table, and I sat down near him, and I said, "No, how are you feeling?" And his first response to me was, "Let's talk in learning." That's what was on his mind, let's talk in learning. So I said, I like that idea. Number one, I always love talking and learning. But number two is tonight I got to give a class, and I got nothing to say. So maybe tonight you're going to teach me a little bit. So he says, what style? Not bad to be able to hold your head like that in that situation. What style? So I said, my minhag is la midrash ikar ela ma'aseh. Before we give a darash, we need a good story. Have you got a good story for me? So he tells me on what subject. I said, something to do with Chanukah. So he says, no, something to do with Chanukah I don't have for you offhand. So I said, give me the first thing that comes to your mind. So he was thinking for a second, and my mother-in-law was sitting there as well, and in the interim, my mother-in-law says, she asked me about my daughter that's in Israel. So I told her that my daughter called a few minutes before, and she had asked me an opinion. So I said, what was the question? That the President of the United States has a lot of headaches on his head, aka Russia probes and other things, and the guy turned on him, and he needed to get the media to divert their attention from him to something else. So he thought of a brilliant way to do it. He said he's going to go on record and announce that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, and that one day, it's either going to happen or not, the embassy is going to move to Jerusalem, and that's going to be the talk of the world, because the world is not going to know how to digest that statement so publicly. And it worked. The past 2 days, that's all that's on the news. Will the Arabs have an uprising tomorrow? Will they not? The Europeans don't like it so much. We see the true colors of everybody coming out now. So the seminaries in Israel, I don't know if any of you have sisters in seminary now, they're in lockdown mode. They don't want the girls going out tomorrow and for Shabbat because they're scared in case something goes wrong. They're responsible for the girls. They're doing the right thing. So my daughter called me and said she had plans to go to a relative for Shabbat. Do I think she should cancel or not? Because in her school they said whatever your parents tell you, that's the rule. So I said I think you should go. So she said, what about, is it dangerous? So I said that's a valid question. And the reason why I think that you should go anyway is because it's not my opinion. I have no say on this matter. I don't understand security in Israel and other things. But because I have friends that went into Reb Chaim Kanievsky's house to ask Reb Chaim this week a question. That they have friends in America that were all planning on coming to Israel for Chanukah. And as a result of this announcement thing, they're scared to go. So they want to know if they should cancel their trip or they should come to Israel. Anyway, because they bought tickets and everything, they're going to Israel for Chanukah. So Reb Chaim said, tell the friends in America that the safest place in the world to be is Israel. And if they're scared, they should be scared to be in America, not in Israel. And Adarabah, they should come and there's nothing to worry about. I said, so if Maran Agrach Kanievsky Shlita said that there's nothing to be scared, you should come to Israel, so there's nothing to be scared, you can go to your relative for Shabbat. So I'm making Gzeirat Shavah, I'm learning from one to another. So my mother-in-law heard, I told her that this is what my daughter just said. My brother was sitting there hearing this whole conversation. And she says, but no, she should be careful where she goes, where she doesn't go. And she tells us a story. She says when she was in Israel on one of her previous trips, she goes very frequently, her father and her went to the Kotel, and her father lives in Afula, not in Yerushalayim in any way, shape, or form. When they got to the area, he didn't know the way so good, and they ended up in some town of our first cousins, Bnei Ishmael. And the Bnei Ishmael are not so hospitable. They don't like when Jews come to their neighborhoods. So they went through a few scary moments, we'll just say. She says, you see, it's not so simple. You gotta be, the kids have to be careful not to go around, not this, not that, till we know that things calm down. So when my brother-in-law heard that, he smiled and he said, Yaakov, now I have something for you. I said, okay, let me hear. So he tells me he heard this story from the driver, from a guy. Today you got to be very, very old, I guess. Who was someone who was young, this person, very young. He was a driver of Chaim Shmulevitz in Israel. What a schut, the driver of Chaim Shmulevitz. Schut just to see Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, to drive him. Halavai, we should be zocher to drive Dolei Yisrael, to have such a schut. Chaim Shmulevitz. So Reb Chaim used to go to the Kotel a bunch. He used to go a lot to the Kotel. People say today they distorted that he only used to go to Rosh Hashanah. It's not true. He went plenty of times to the Kotel. He used to go a lot to the Kotel. So one time he was driving Reb Chaim to the Kotel. And he was driving Reb Chaim Shmulevitz to the Kotel. Reb Chaim Shmulevitz told him that he wants to go, before he goes to the Kotel, to Har HaZeitim. Har HaZeitim is a place where many, many Gdolei Yisrael are buried. Many, many Gdolei Yisrael are buried. The one that's most famous that everybody knows is the Orach Chaim HaKadosh is buried in Har HaZeitim. But besides for that, many Gdolim and Tzaddikim, especially from Olam HaChasidut, tons are buried over there. Many of the Abu Chatzir family are buried there as well, not the Baba Sali, but others. Many people, Shloimeh Villa is buried there, for example, everybody goes. But it's in a neighborhood that, it's not a lot of fun to be in that neighborhood. So if you know your way well and you go, now there's already a little more security, so you go fine. But if not, it's not always the best thing. This driver, Chaim said, go to the Har HaZeitim. He didn't ask why, dangerous, not dangerous. He says, you go. So he's driving, he makes the turn to drive up to Har HaZeitim. And sure enough, it was in the days of the Ramadan. And it was exactly when these Yimach Shemam were after their fast or whatever, the fake fast that they have. And their custom is that during their Ramadan, after the fast, they make a party every night, and the party is, let's start up with the Jews. That's their way of celebrating. Each one the way he likes to celebrate. So they're driving up there, and suddenly the Arabs crowd around the car. And they realized it's not going to be good. There's no soldiers in sight, no police in sight, no nothing, and the driver was very, very scared. And Chaim Shmulevitz said, no, so we have to pray. He closed his eyes, and the whole time he was mumbling something. B'derech lo derech, and this happened. At a certain point, the guys that crowded around the car decided to leave. They turned around, they got out of the area safe. When they finally got back to the Kotel and they felt already in a safer territory, so the driver turned to Reb Chaim Shmulevitz and he said, we just had a nes. We just had a nes, it's probably in the schut of Rosh Shiva, of your prayers. So I want to learn something from it. What did you pray? What were you praying for? He says, it wasn't loud, I couldn't hear. I want to know in that moment when we were surrounded, when things weren't looking good, what was it that you were praying for? I got to know, Rebbe. So Chaim says, no problem, I'll tell you, there's no secret involved over here. He says, "No, tell me." He said, "I'm going to teach you." This is what Chaim Shlev tells the driver. I told it to my brother. I'm going to teach you a story in the Navi. The Navi is in Malachim Bet in Perek Vav. And the Navi says a story. It's very similar to this story. And the Navi says that Elisha was together with the Nar. It was the South Tzava. It wasn't just a regular Nar. And they got into a situation. Vayashkem misharet ish Elokim lakum vayetze. He got up and they were going to move. V'hinei chayil sovev et ha'ir v'sus v'rechev. And there was enemies that were surrounding them. It wasn't looking good. Exactly the same story. The enemy was surrounding them. Vayomer na'aro elav aha adoni echa na'aseh. So the Na'ar told Elisha Navi, what are we going to do? We're surrounded. We're in trouble over here. Vayomer al tira ki rabim asher itanu masher otam. Don't be scared. And then what? Vayitpalel Elisha. He prayed. So Chaim says, let's see what he prayed. What was the story? And we can learn from that. And then I'll tell you what I did based on this. This is where I got it from. Gadol Hador is in a situation of life and death. He doesn't panic. He has the clarity to remember a story in the Navi that's a similar story to what he's going through. And now we're going to use the method of the Navi to get out of the situation that we're in. So what happened over there? So he prayed. And he said, whatever he prayed for, it doesn't say clearly what he prayed for, it just says that he prayed. And then he said, he told the Nar that was with him, open your eyes, see, and look what's going on around us. So he opened his eyes. V'hinei ahar malei susim v'rechev esh svivot Elisha. It was surrounded by fire and what seemed to be their own people, in other words, their own power. Which, if you look good in the Mefashim, we're talking about that Hashem made a nest, that it was malachim, angels that came to protect them, whatever it was. But it wasn't, but that's not where the story ends. He continued to pray. And what was his prayer? Hashem, make the people, the enemy around us, blind. And this happened, they became blind, and Elisha and the Nar got out, they escaped. There's a watered down version of what happened. Of course, if you look in the Mefashim and Tanakh, you'll see a lot of more explanation on this. So Chaim Shmulevitz turns to this driver and he tells him, if Elisha's prayer was that they should be blind, and then we'll be able to escape. So what did we need this whole production before that? The fire and Susim and this, and to tell him, look what's going on around us. And then they became blind. Hashem should do just, Hashem doesn't do extra miracles for no reason. They become blind, they leave, and goodbye. What do we need this whole extra adventure before? Second of all, and if we already made fire and angels and everything come down from heaven, so they should get out with that alone. What do they have to make them blind for? It's a good question. So Chaim Shmulevitz told them, from here we see a big lesson. Listen to this. This is a big item. He says that when a person is scared, as a result of his fear, HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't give him any miracles. Because fear is a lack of faith, and when a person is lacking faith, you can't have a ness. So Elisha wanted to get them out of there. But in order to get them out of there, he needed them to be blind so they can get out. But asking to make the people blind is asking for a ness. And he saw that the Nar, his eyes were closed. What does that mean? He's scared. If he's scared, they're not going to have a ness. So Elisha prayed first one prayer. He said, Hashem, make that he shouldn't be scared. Hashem made nest number one, that he saw the angels protecting them. He saw the fire, and he said, oh, God's with us. I don't have to be scared anymore. Now that he wasn't scared, we were able to have the real miracle to blind them so they can get out of there. I'm so nervous, only a miracle could save me. No, if you're so nervous, a miracle won't save you. If you're so calm, then a miracle could save you. So Chaim's Chidush in the Navi. He says, you want to know what I prayed? I davened to Hashem one and only one thing, not that he should save us, not that we should get out of here, not that they shouldn't be able to harm us, because that prayer wouldn't work. I prayed to God that you and me should have no fear. The second I saw that it worked, and we were both calm, and this happened, and they left, and we were able to leave. That's what he told. He said, Memela, I agree with you what you told your daughter. If we're going to live in fear in Israel, then there's what to be scared about. But if we're going to live not in fear, of course within the guidelines of halacha, not to be reckless and do crazy things, but within the guidelines of halacha, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you have emunah, you believe? So this happens. I said, wait a second. Oh, yeah, if that's the case, you gave it all to me on a silver platter. Thank you very much. So he said, what? I said, I wanted to speak about Chanukah tonight. I don't know, what should I say? I got to say something new. To repeat, no, I have to say something new, a new chiddush. There's a very interesting thing in halacha. It's brought down in the poskim in many places. Multiple places. According to the halacha, one is not allowed to pray to have a nes. It's called almost a tefillat shav, a false prayer. And that's why when we ask for things, we always ask for them in a way that they should come ki'ilu through nature. Because that's not asking for a nes already. Somebody's not well, so we ask that Hashem should help, that the doctor should be a good messenger. What do we need a doctor for in the first place? It should be a nes, and that's it. We don't ask for nisim. Where do we learn that from? Many places, but amongst the many places, one of the very clear ones was the Gemara says a story that Rava once asked for a miracle, and it doesn't make a difference to go into the whole details over there. And at night when he was sleeping, he was woken up. You have to understand the Gemara if it means through a dream, or he was actually woken up, and there was like a knife coming out through his bed, which symbolized that, God forbid, they were going to kill him. Why? So if you look there in the Gemara, it says, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu kaviyachol had a kpeida on him. What are you trying to change the nature of the world over here? You can't ask for miracles. You don't ask for miracles. And this is brought down, there's many rayot to this throughout Chazal, that a person shouldn't pray for a miracle. We should pray in a way that it should go b'derech hateva, ki'ilu, it should be covered, it should be hidden. Because to pray for a miracle, you have to be really worthy of a miracle. If Hashem starts looking if you're worthy or not, I don't know if it's always going to be the best news. But if you pray for something that should be through nature, so through nature, that's why, for example, Chazal say that anything to do with parnasah is one big nes. Naturally, who says a person should make a living? It's a nes. Hashem gives a special blessing every day. That's why you have to go to work. Because that's the way to make the miracle come through nature, and like this you get it. If you don't go to work and sit at home, it doesn't come from the ceiling. Why not? Because by then you're asking for a miracle already. You're not worthy of that type of miracle already. It doesn't work like that. And the same thing in everything in life. That's the whole idea behind Ishtadlut, by the way. It's to give a tool to cover up for the miracle. It's to give it. Of course, you can't forget that it's all a miracle at the end. But when it comes to Chanukah, we see something that Lichorah is a direct contradiction to this. It's brought down in the poskim that if one ate a meal with bread on Chanukah, and he was doing Birkat HaMazon, and he forgot to say Al HaNisim. Could happen. Oh yeah, you don't say Birkat HaMazon. What Al HaNisim? You forget to say Al HaNisim. So you don't have to repeat Birkat HaMazon. Why not? Because the only time you have to repeat Birkat HaMazon is if there's an obligation to eat bread. But if there's no obligation, there's no chiyuv pat, no chiyuv suda, so then you don't have to repeat the Birkat HaMazon. So therefore, on Chanukah there's no chiyuv suda, so that you forgot Al HaNisim doesn't make you go back on Birkat HaMazon. But let's say you didn't finish Birkat HaMazon completely yet. You finished the main part of Birkat HaMazon, but you're at the prayers at the end in the Harachaman. And you remember, wait a second, I didn't say Al HaNisim. So then you could still say Al HaNisim. And some of the poskim say, but what do? You add in a Harachaman. Not everybody agrees with this, obviously, but this is the way many poskim bring it down. And you say this, Harachamanu yaseh lanu nisim v'niflaot. God should make us miracles. K'mo she'asa la'avoteinu bayamim hahem bazman hazeh. The same way he did for our forefathers in those times. And then say, Bimei Matityahu and the rest of Al HaNisim. Come to Mufashim and ask, wait a second, how could there be such a halacha? You're not allowed to pray for a miracle. How could you say, Achamanu yaseh lanu nisim? In Chazal it says, you pray to do it for a miracle, it backfires at you. So how are you allowed to pray for a miracle? It's going to backfire at you. And it's brought down in the Poskim Tirutz that's mind-boggling. And they were all mechaven to the same thing. A few different Poskim were mechaven to the same Tirutz, and they each one lived in a different time. I said, because in Chanukah there's no such thing as a miracle. Because Baruch Hu makes that the laws of miracles and nature are all the same. And that's the only time during the year that one is allowed to pray for a miracle. Pele. Why? So the Maharal wrote an entire Sefer Ner Mitzvah. This we used in many different contexts over the years. But in the Sefer Ner Mitzvah, the Maharal explains this very thoroughly. He says that anything that falls in the category of 7 is still within the rules of nature. If something falls in the category of a spiritual number of 8, then at that point it's in the rules of miracles. It doesn't fall into the rules of nature. That's the Maharal says. And he says that's why we do a Brit Milah on the 8th day, not on the 7th day, because a Brit Milah is not something natural. Naturally, you leave the kid alone. What are you doing? Today in medicine we know it is healthy, but that's not the point of it. The mitzvah is something else. It was on the 8th day. And the Maharal has many other examples, also things that have to do with 8. And that's the way the Maharal answers the Bet Yosef's question. The Bet Yosef says, why do we have Chanukah for 8 days? It should only be for 7 days, right? This is the most famous question in the whole Torah. There used to be a sefer that was called Ner L'Me'ah that was written 100 different answers on this question. Bet Yosef himself has 3 answers. There's written 100 answers. A few years ago, somebody compiled a different sefer that he took from all the Sfarim that had 500 answers. Last year, somebody gave me a gift on Chanukah, a sefer called Ner Le'elef, 1,000 answers to this question. It's the only sefer I have like that has 1,000 answers on one question. I'm sure there are other subjects that have 1,000 answers on it, but that they actually put together a sefer, a big fat sefer, 1,000 answers on one question. Is why do we have 8 days? One day wasn't a miracle. They had oil for 1 day. They needed oil for 8 days. They had oil for 1 day. So the miracle was that it lit 7 more days. So the Chanukah should be 7 days. 1 day they had. So of course the simple answer is 1 day is to celebrate the fact that they found the first one. That was also nice. There are many other answers along that way. Many other answers. The Maharal says no. He says the whole idea of Chanukah is 8. If we make Chanukah 7 days, then that's not Chanukah anymore. The whole idea of Chanukah is to pull a person out of the natural way, out of the laws of nature. And the Maharal explains this with many, many different aspects and different Sfarim that he wrote. Not all of it's written in Ner Mitzvah. Amongst the many aspects of it, the Maharal makes an interesting observation. Api halacha, when you're building an own Kodesh, the base, meaning the place that the Sefer Torah goes on, has to be a minimum of 10 tfachim high. Why? Because the Shekhinah doesn't go below 10 tfachim. The Sefer Torah is a holy thing, resembles the Shekhinah. You can't put it below 10 tfachim. Look in the halacha v'chot Chanukah, the chatchila, when a person lights candles, how are you supposed to light candles? Between 3 tfachim height, up to 10 tfachim height. Wait a second. And everything else in Judaism, we do it only above 10 tfachim, because the Shekhinah doesn't go below 10 tfachim. What type of mitzvah is this? To do it below? That's against everything. So the Maharal says, because Chanukah is 8, so then the regular rules of the year don't apply. So even though a whole year HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't go below 10 tfachim, but on Chanukah he wants to show Am Yisrael, I come even to the lowest place in the world. Even to the worst situation, even to the dumps of the dumps, there I am. Pachot mi'asara. And therefore, b'dafka, we gave the halakha to say, go light the candles in a low place, to know that even in such a situation, HaKadosh Baruch Hu shows his light. Comes to Maharal and says that only comes from a pele, from something that doesn't work in the regular rules of nature. Obviously, that's the reason why the 8th day of Chanukah is a very big thing. Me'eit Hashem haita zot, hi niflat beineinu. Me'eit Hashem haita zot, from Hashem there was zot. The 8th day of Chanukah is nicknamed Zot Chanukah. Hi niflat, it's a pele, it doesn't work in the rules of nature, beineinu, we can't understand it. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu picks 8 days a year and goes down below 10, that's something that we can't understand. That doesn't go into the human mind. If that's the case, so I can explain you how it works, how the dynamics work. A whole year when we approach a holiday or a regular day or a prayer, so there's a certain element of discomfort, a certain element of fear, a certain element of whatever it is. And we approach prayer through that. When we approach prayer through that, it's already, because Baruch Hu says, you're scared, I can't give you a miracle. On Chanukah, when a person understands when he lights the candles, that everything goes, we live in the miracle, and at that point it's Davar Pashut, so then Hashem can give you everything already. And that's why Chanukah is a holiday that is filled with miracles. The holy Kedushat Levi, Rabbi Yitzchak ben Sasha Mibarditcho Zecher Tzadik Levacha Zchato Yagen Aleinu brings down, and similar to these words, also a little bit similar, is also brought down the Holy Sefer Bnei Sachar. The Barditch of his words, more or less, I might be off by one or two words, don't hold me to it, but this is close, pretty close, is Mashal Lemelech. He says Chanukah is a parable to a king. Shepatach otzroto liyom echad. That he opens his vaults for one day, and he says anybody who wants should come take whatever he needs. Oy lo leksil sheyashen beoto hayom. Woe is it to the person, how stupid a person could be if he sleeps through that day. This is your chance. Everything's open. Come, take whatever you want. Oy lo leksil, how stupid you could be, sheyashen beoto hayom, to go to sleep. That's the way the Kedushat Levi breaks down Chanukah to us. So I want to tell you the same thing in our terms. Mashal Melech, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us 8 days of Chanukah. Oy lo leksil, woe is it to the stupid fool that wastes the whole Chanukah going from one party to the next. Every night I'm booked. This I'm going here, and to this one, and to that one, and to the other one, party to party to party to party to party. And that's the whole Chanukah. Every night I'm booked. I called an acquaintance of mine who's a singer. And I told him that maybe he wants to come to me. Mesameach, the Shtabur says that, based on the Ramah, that the only way there's anything of a Sudat Mitzvah on Chanukah is if you sing Zmirot V'Tishbachot LaHashem. So I called, and I told him, maybe you want to come one night and sing some Zmirot V'Tishbachot for us. So he told me, I'm booked since last year already. Are you joking? Chanukah? I have a night open? Are you crazy? Booked salary. He says, the average night I'm doing 2 to 4 parties. Wow, Shem Yisrael, everybody thinks like me. He says, no, I don't even want to tell you where most of the parties are. I said, so how you going? I said, what's your head? I said, that they want to do something stupid fun, but what's your head to go? So he tells me, Uman tarud b'mlachto. Such a halakha and certain things. A doctor, for example, a male doctor is allowed to treat a woman. Now, why is he allowed to treat a woman? Because Uman tarud b'mlachto says that. He says, I'm a singer, Uman tarud b'mlachto. I said, if that's the case, the Reform people are right. Man tarud b'malachto, with tarud b'mlechet atfilah, we could sit mixed. I said, where's the red line? Where's the point that we don't say that anymore? I said, so you got it all wrong. So I think you should rethink all your bookings, filter out a few, and then you'll have time for me. Come to my house. I'll tell you after Chanukah if you came or not. So far I didn't say yeah. Listen, man, a couple thousand each house for a night. It's hard to say no to. It's a big nisayon. Oilo l'ksil. Have an opportunity. Befrat, the Sfarim HaKadoshim write, this in the Sifrei Chasidut brought down a lot more. Also in the Sifrei Kabbalah a little bit, but mainly in the Sifrei Chasidut. The first half hour after you light candles, you sit by the candles. It's a time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mashpia shefa from Shamayim, a special shefa, that the gates are open. I know a first-hand story that somebody called me once, and he had a certain illness, L'aleinu L'Lachem should never know, and one of the side effects of his illness was that he began to lose his vision. Shem Yerachim should never know. And he told me that he went for all these doctors and this and that, and they didn't have an answer. And he called me for medical advice. He said, maybe you have a referral of a good doctor, somebody I could go to that's going to have a better idea, because whatever I tried failed. So I told him, yeah, I have one. So he says, so when? I said, tomorrow night. This was last year Chanukah. I said, what do you mean tomorrow night? What doctor works at night? I said, not only he works at night, he's going to come to your house. You don't have to go to him either. He said, you got a doctor that's a specialist that's going to come to my house tomorrow? I said, yeah, he's coming to your house tomorrow night. He says, what time? I said, 4:55. He said, why 4:55? How do you didn't speak to him. How do you know when he's coming? I said, tomorrow night at 4:55, you're going to light candles, the first night of Chanukah. And you sit by the candles and you look at the candles, and your vision's going to come back. He says, what? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Adon HaNiflaot, it's a pellet. It doesn't have to make sense to you. The Sfarim HaKadoshim write, there's a Sgula in the Ner Chanukah. So there's a Sgula in the Ner Chanukah to look at it, that in order to see the Ner Chanukah, you have to be able to see. So if you sit in front of the Ner Chanukah, Hashem has to make you see, that's it. He said, that's it? I said, that's it? Let me tell you something. The doctor showed up. The guy sees perfectly today. He says that he had to go to the eye doctor a few weeks after Chanukah because way before this illness, he had glasses. And he doesn't need the glasses anymore. Hashem wanted to show him it's a ness, so he did it all the way to the opposite extreme. A guy that I know, a friend of mine, lives in my neighborhood. Sees perfectly. And there's no way in natural laws to explain how it works. That's the koach, like Rosh Baruch Hu puts down on the days of Chanukah. To take such days and to waste them on parties, one party to the next party like a yo-yo, I don't know what's going to come out of that. Definitely if it's not begeder Sudat Mitzvah. And because some people don't understand the criteria of Sudat Mitzvah, so if you have a DJ there that's playing music that you wouldn't play in front of Rabbi Yosef, it's not a Sudat Mitzvah. Let's start with that. And that already ruled out 98% of parties. And if there are people dressed there that wouldn't be dressed that way in front of a Gdol Hador, then it's also not a Sudat Mitzvah, because you're not allowed to walk into such a place. And then you take Yom Kippur before Nila, you would go into such a place? For sure not. So Chanukah is more than Yom Kippur before Nila. The Baruch is Adon Niflo, it's a pellet. It doesn't have to make sense to you. So now, in the name of a party, but otherwise they're going to get insulted. Otherwise they're going to get insulted is the 2017 heter to erase the entire Torah. Yeah, otherwise they're going to get insulted. So I face that issue almost every day of my life. And I'll tell you what I tell people. This is not mine, I got it from the Chavetz Chaim. Somebody once came to the Chavetz Chaim and told him that he wants to become a Baal Tshuva and keep Torah and mitzvot, but he has one mitzvah that doesn't sit well with him. He has one mitzvah. I don't remember which mitzvah it was, but he picked one of the mitzvot. That one rubs his nerves the wrong way. After Lepune. And the Chavetz Chaim says, what do you want from me? So he said, I want you to give me a heter that mitzvah I don't have to do. So he said, start with the others. He didn't want to lose him, right? So he said, start with the others. We'll deal with that. Well, let's first start with the others. He says, no, I have to feel I'm doing the right thing. And if one mitzvah I'm deliberately not doing, so I don't feel it's the right thing. If the Chavetz Chaim tells me that one mitzvah I don't have to keep, so then I'll feel okay already. So the Chavetz Chaim told him like this. He said, if I was the boss of the Torah and God worked for me, I would gladly give you a discount, 20%, 30%, whatever you want. I'm very generous. He says, but being that the Torah works for God, it belongs to God, and I work for Him, I don't want my boss to fire me. Imagine you walk into Macy's and you find yourself a nice coat, costs $1,000. And you still have some sanity left, and $1,000 on a coat, no, I could go to Tzedakah, we don't have to buy a coat for $1,000. And you go to the salesperson, you say, you want it for 50% off. The sales guy tells you, I give it to you, my book's 90% off. You say, even better, you give him $100, he gives you the coat. Is he going to have a job the next morning? Not if somebody found out about it, right? When you erase parts of the Torah in the name of stupidity, Hashem fires you. You don't have a job the next morning, that's it. Because your job is to say it as it is. Now, if the other guy doesn't want to listen, fine, that's his problem already. That's not yours. That's not a heter. Now, of course, there are individual situations. Talmid Chacham, not his rabbi. One has nothing to do with the other. Rabbis love to have Talmid Chacham, unfortunately. But his Talmid Chacham, to see, maybe a person's parents are not religious, and that, there are criteria that sometimes differ. But as a general rule of thumb, to randomly be going everywhere, at that point, we turned Chanukah into Christmas already. What's left? It's Christmas party, it's Chanukah party, it's the same thing. The whole, and clearly it says, the whole way Chanukah becomes a Sudat Mitzvah is only if it's an event of Shirot v'Tishbachot LaHashem. It's a place of praise to God. That's simply an Eitz HaTeva, a good piece of advice. Chanukah is very interesting. It's a mitzvah that even Jews that don't keep any mitzvot keep. Maybe they keep it in a distorted way, I don't know, but they keep it. You go to places that the Jews barely know they're Jewish, and you still see these things in their window, whatever, maybe it's not candles, but something, zechel hadavar, whatever it is. They do something. So it's a very accepted thing to keep. Why did this mitzvah penetrate so big? This one penetrated so big. I was one year somewhere in Israel, 2 days after Chanukah I got there, and I was talking to, I said a speech somewhere, and at the end of the speech I was talking to one of the guys that was there. I didn't know, first time I met him, very, very, very nice guy, and he told me I'm getting so close to religion and that and so that. He said, and I just was able to stick to my first mitzvah that I consistently, without messing up. I said, which mitzvah was that? He said, it was just Chanukah. All 8 days I lit candles. I said, wow, that's an amazing thing. I'm so happy to hear. A Jew lit candles for 8 days. I don't care what he's up to in life. It's going to take an effect. He says, and don't ask, it didn't come easy. He said, Friday night, I realized at like midnight that I didn't like candles. I drove to the store, I bought candles because I ran out. I came back home and I lit candles. Bottom and none. But even at that, obviously it was important. And of course, many surei doraita and everything else, and he wasn't allowed to do it. But it obviously meant something to him if he was able to, if he cared to get out of bed and go to the store to buy, because he ran out of candles or oil or whatever it was that he told me, I don't know exactly, and do it. It meant something. Have this penetrate. That's also a pella. So Yom Kippur penetrated by most of Am Yisrael. That we understand, because Chazal say that the Yetzer Hara that loses his power in Yom Kippur. So fine, if the Yetzer Hara loses his power, of course, most of Am Yisrael is going to fast. But Chanukah doesn't say that the Yetzer Hara loses his power. And Afal Piken, in one way or the other, some Zecher Ladavar stayed by Am Yisrael throughout all the generations. And in certain situations throughout the generations, it stayed by Am Yisrael and with great Mesiut Nefesh as well. Great sacrifice, great risk. Whether it was in communist countries, whether it was in times of war, in other situations, they kept. Chanukah was something that people stuck to. Because Baruch Hu made a holiday that the whole thing's a pella in a way that it should last for generations in a pella also. Because if the whole idea of Chanukah is that Hashem's willing to go down low, so he had to make it in a way that even those that spiritually on a very low level should have some connection to it. Because who's he going to go down to otherwise? So Hashem put it into the Takana of Chazal of Neirot Chanukah that it should be something that should stick by Am Yisrael. The Klal Yisrael should want to have a connection to it, even those that normally are very far. That's a nest on its own. It's a big nest on its own. So bevadai, we should look for ways to utilize these Yamim Toshim in very, very strong ways. The great Rosh Shiva, Shalom Zalman Auerbach, Zecher Tzadik Levarcha, Zchutei Yagen Aleinu. It irked him so much that in the Lama Yeshivot, Chanukah, this 3 or 4 days vacation. I went to Yeshivat Kol Torah in Israel. We used to have 5 days vacation. I guess they were more machmir, I don't know. And it turned his stomach. He said, Dafka Chanukah, Kinel Mitzvah Torah, the whole idea of Chanukah is to learn, and Dafka now, everybody's going running away and not learning and that. And he used to come to the yeshiva, I said this many times over the years in speeches, to teach on Chanukah even though nobody was there. And there was one year that I'm well aware of, that there were only 2 people in the shiur. There's the Gdol Ador, had to take 2 buses, he didn't agree to take cabs. Took 2 buses from his house to come to yeshiva in Beit Vagan, they lived in Shai Chesed, to give a shiur for 2 people. That's how important it was to him, the whole idea of learning on Chanukah. Unbelievable. And if I didn't have a psak for my Rebbe, not to cancel shiurim as a result of Adlakat Nirot, I would tell my wife, you like candles, I'm going to say the shiur, what does one have to do with the other? She could like candles for me just as good, if not better, and have a good day. Adarabah, Chanukah is a holiday that's more ladies-oriented than men. Ladies have more halachot in Chanukah than men do, right? It's brought down the poskim, Na'agu, Neshot Yisrael, for half an hour after Adlakat Nirot, they don't do melacha. Men don't have that. Why? Because the whole Nes Chanukah happened through a woman. So Chanukah is a Yom Tov that the ladies have more power in than a man. So a lady can light candles, there's no issue in that, she light the candle. If her husband's not home, she lights the candle. Right, so I have a psak that I also have to say a shiur for my kids sometimes. They also have to know they have a father. So Yom Tov, you stay home, fine. It is what it is. But in a happy way, Baruch Hashem, it's an opportunity. But and I want to tell you, every year I try to be home for all the candle lighting, to do it on time every night with all the prayers and everything else. And there was one year, I'm not going to say names, somebody convinced me on the last night of Chanukah to go for a mitzvah, to speak with him in a big place, huge, crazy amount of people and that. And that year was probably my toughest year that I've had in my life. I think that was Hashem saying, buddy, don't mess with my candles. It's brought down Sfarim HaKadoshim in many places, that if somebody every night lights candles, pi halacha, and the way the halacha says to do so, and he says that Yosef said to Yom afterwards, the Mizmor Shel Chanukah L'Bayit, Muftach lo, it's guaranteed to him that he's going to fill his whole year, and that he's going to be protected, nobody will be able to harm him. We get life insurance, car insurance, health insurance, this insurance, that. Soon we're going to have brain damage insurance. I don't know what's going to come next. Every insurance. Our stupid iPhones have insurance. Everything has insurance. And here the Chachamim HaKadoshim, right, this is your insurance. You want an insurance? Yeah, you got an insurance policy. Devote 30 minutes for 8 days straight, boom, you're insured for the year. Oy lo l'ksil she'yashen b'oto hayom. How stupid could a person be to ruin it? For what? Over what? Going, yeah, I missed the train, I missed this, I missed that. Yeah, you missed your life also once you were out of it. You missed everything. There was a package deal missing. Oy lo l'ksil, that's literally what it means. But again, remember the Yisod. Tonight we're coming out with a big Yisod. If you're scared, Hashem can't help you anymore. Because if you're scared, that means you have a lack of emunah. And Hashem can't make a nest for somebody who has a lack of emunah. Comes like Kodesh Baruch Hu on Chanukah and says, when you lit a candle, that means that now it's light. There's no more darkness. There's nothing to be scared. Everything's clear. Everything's beautiful. Now he can give you all the nisim that you need. That means that part of the inyan of the kavanah of the Adlakat Nerot Chanukah is to light up the neshama of a clarity of faith that at that point we don't live under stress. That at that point we don't worry all day about things that are not in our control anyway. And if a person brings himself to that point, from there on God says, it's on me, don't worry about it. I got the rest for you. That's a big yisod that we learned from Chaim Shulevitz, and be a schut for my brother-in-law. He gave it to me b'shat tzarot, Torah shelamadti ba'af hisha amdali. That's what Chazal say. Torah that I learned in the hard times, that's what stands. So if somebody in his hardest moments after coming home from a hospital says, let's talk in learning, and this is the learning that comes out, hisha amdal should be a schut for him for refuah shlema b'ezrat Hashem. There's another part of the mitzvah of Chanukah that's unique. Ner ish ubeito. I have one son that's over bar mitzvah, another one's going to be bar mitzvah soon, b'ezrat Hashem. Can I put on tefillin in the morning for them? No. Let's say I put on 3 times, one for each one. Put on for me, then I take it off, wait a few minutes, put on again, that's for him, put on a 3rd time for the other one, because it doesn't work. Could my son tell me, Dad, today I ate kosher, so now you're off the hook? I did it for you. Doesn't work. I learned Torah, so you're off the hook. Doesn't work. Each person has to keep his mitzvah. Chanukah, my son is out with his friends. I'm home and I light candles, but he lives at home. He's going to sleep there that night. I lit candles. When he comes home, does he have to light candles? No. If he's Sephardic and he does light candles and he makes a bracha, he actually said a bracha levatala. Why? Because the mitzvah was already done for him. What does it mean the mitzvah was done for him? He wasn't there. He wasn't part of it. He didn't even know what happened. He came home. His first question was, did anybody light candles yet? Yeah, the candles were lit already. They're already out. It was lit for 2 hours, they went out. What does that mean? Ner ish ubeito. So, of course, in the lumdus of the thing, it's very simple. That the takana of Chazal wasn't on the person, it was on the house. It's a mitzvah of a household. But what does that mean, al derech hashkafa? That behind the mitzvah of Chanukah lays a very deep thing. Ner ish, when are you considered an ish? When are you a person? Ubeito. When you get along with your house. When everybody at home is part, has a connection. But if you can't make beito, then you lost your title of ish. That means Chanukah's power is the power of waking up people to realize that the way we light light in a dark world is by having a deep level of love and unity for Am Yisrael. And for this I want to tell you an amazing story that happened with Rabbi Yaakov Yagen. Rabbi Yaakov Yagen, zecher tzadik v'kadosh livracha. Just to put things into perspective about Rabbi Yaakov Yagen, besides for his Geonut and Torah, the yeshiva boys amongst us, of course, know Birkat Shmuel and everything, right? Besides for that, there was a story a couple of years ago. I know the story firsthand. I'm changing a few details and telling you in advance that don't make a difference to the story, just to cover for the person's identity, in case somebody knows who it is. But in a school, a local school, one day there was a teacher that was teaching about Jewish rabbis, history, whatever it was. And she was that day, every time she used to teach about a different rabbi, that day she taught about Rabbi Yaakov Yagen. And she showed a picture of Rabbi Yaakov Yagen. And one girl in the class made a comment, who are these rabbis? They all look so ugly. She made such a comment. Teacher was horrible. She said, what are you talking about? So she didn't stop. She went, she tried it. Look at his face. I don't know if you see a picture of Ochber, it didn't look ugly at all, actually. But okay, sure, that's what came out of her mouth. She went home that night, she went to sleep. The medical element I'm skipping because, again, I'm trying to cover somebody's identity. She woke up the next morning, and as a result of a medical issue, that they later on found out what it was, her entire face was distorted. A single girl has to get married one day. Her life is destroyed in simple English. Doctors, hospital, nothing to do. It's a lost case. One day she tells her father, I'm scared I know what happened. I was in school, and this is what I made fun of Ochber's face. And I'm scared that maybe that Mishamayim there's a kapeda on me. I'm scared. The father heard that, and he said, hey, this is no joke. I don't know anything about this stuff. I have to go to Israel right away to talk to an Adam Gadol. Flew to Israel, and I don't remember who it was, but I'm 99% sure I asked somebody else who also knows the people, and he said, if he remembers correctly, it was Avshteiman that they went to. I, for some reason, think it's Rabbi Yaakov Yagen, Zichrono Livracha, Avshteiman Shibadel Chaim Tovim, but one or the other. It was one of those two. And they went into a Gadol in Israel, and they told him the whole story, and he said, yeah, there's no doubt, that's exactly what it is. They said, okay, so what do we do now? They said, there's only one thing to do. To go to Rabbi Ochber's grave, and ask for forgiveness. Now, Pi Halacha, when you go to a grave to ask for forgiveness, you have to go with a minyan. So you got to take 10 men and to go. It's a cheap price to pay to be able to live a normal life, right? So of course, the father right away said, we're going to do it. He started calling people to tell him we got to make a minyan to go to Rabbi Ochber's grave. And they told him, there is no grave. There's nowhere to go. We don't know where Rabbi Ochber is buried. We know he's buried in this cemetery, but in the war and that, things got destroyed. We don't know where the place is. Now what do you do? The father wants to save his daughter. He goes back to Israel. No phone calls, no messengers. He wants to do everything himself. There's his daughter's life at stake. Goes back to the Gadol. And the Gadol told him that he has a masoret, he was told by others, that the Rabbi Ochber was buried at a little bit of a different angle than the way the other people in the graves, the other graves in the cemetery were. And he spent a crazy amount of money, and all different researchers and people, and with satellite imaging that they had from years ago, and then matching it with now, they were able to figure out which grave it was Rabbi Ochber's. It took a lot of time, a lot of work, and a lot of money. And as soon as they figured it out, he also paid to make a nice, that should be normal over there. And immediately they flew. And there were a few Gdolei Yisrael that flew there as well. If I remember correctly, Amatisyahu Salom, Hashem Shagim Mefuash Zemal was one of them. Many other Gdolei Yisrael as well flew to this trip to go to Rabbi Ochber's grave. It was a big scoop. And while they were by the grave, and the father asked in the name of the daughter Mechira, the daughter's face went back to normal, live. Instantly. How careful we have to be before we talk about the Gadol B'Yisrael. People freely say, this one out. Be careful. Gadol B'Yisrael, to say one comment. So now we said that, Rabbi Ochber said once like this. He said that, he told the students, a person has to prepare himself. When he comes to Shamayim after 120, he should come with something. He said, and I don't know what I'm coming with. If we take a survey here in the room, what's going to be after 120? What's going to be? God owes me. What do you mean what's going to be? He owes me. I'm a tzaddik. What's the question? Everybody's convinced. God owes him. Rabbi Ochber wasn't convinced. Yesterday we learned in the Gemara, David HaMelech wasn't convinced either. But today we're all convinced. God owes us for sure. That's the question. So he said, so he started analyzing with the students. So when they come to Olam HaEmet, and they're going to tell me, what are you coming with? So I'm going to say, I know how to learn. And they're going to accept that. I'm going to go into Gan Eden. I'm going to sit down in Gan Eden. Reb Chaim. So I'm going to go to Reb Chaim. And in comparison to Reb Chaim, all my learning was small. So suddenly that case falls. So now I'm back out of Gan Eden again. Know how to learn? Big deal. Look at Chaim's learning. What's your learn? He says, so then I'm going to come up with a new one. I'm going to say, it wasn't that I was such a big lamdan in learning. I was an amkan. I had the depth of the Torah. Very deep. To learn one siman in Birkat Shmuel could take weeks. The depth in every word is unreal. So they're going to put me back in Gan Eden. I'm going to go back to Gan Eden. I'm going to sit down near Rabbi Yaakov Yagen. Near Rabbi Yaakov Yagen's amkut depth. Suddenly my amkut is microscopic. So we're back out again. Says, and then what's going to be over here? So I'm going to say I used to have good midot. It's a bal midot. It's a good case. Back in Gan Eden. So I go back in Gan Eden, they're going to sit me down near Rabbi Yisrael Salante. And then near Rabbi Yisrael's cautiousness and midot. I'm not even an ant, a microscopic. Back out! He says, not that they're going to throw me out. I'm going to feel uncomfortable, so I'm going to leave. I'm going to feel it's not justified. And then he paused and he started crying. And he tells the students, so what's going to be? How am I going to sit in Gan Eden? And after a few minutes of crying, he suddenly started smiling. He said, I know what I'm going to say! I said, what are you going to say? So he said, I'm going to tell them, and his words were, and Yavo L'Sham, I'm going to come there, to Bedin Shalmala, in Ta'ana Chazaka, with a strong case, She'ahavdi Kol Yehudi, that I loved every single Jew, B'chol Nafshi Mikol Alev, with my entire neshama, my whole heart, 1,000,000%. And then he added on 3 more words, Ad Bli Sof, an eternal love, meaning an unconditional love. There was nothing that could ever change that love. In conclusion, Rabbi Yaakov had a custom that when he would see a Jew on the road, didn't make a difference if he knew him or not, he went over to him. He didn't wait for him to come to him. Rabbi Yaakov went to this person, made a difference, religious, not religious, this, that, didn't make a difference who. And he used to give him blessings. And amongst the many blessings that he would give him was that all the brachot of the Torah should always be on you. To give such a blessing to somebody, you have to actually like him, right? You're not going to give that blessing to your enemy. And that was symbolic of his great Ahavat Yisrael that he had. And I conclude with an amazing story that his granddaughter said over. His granddaughter was Rebbetzin Shiner. Aliyah Shalom. She should be a Melitzel Shenos for Gan Eden. She said that once in Rabbi Yaakov house something broke. And they called, whatever, there wasn't phones, but they called somebody and they asked somebody should come to fix it. So one of the students got a worker, a guy who knows, a handyman we'll call it, came to the house. This guy wasn't wearing a kippah. He also looked like one of the goyim of the neighborhood. So Rabbi assumed that he's a good. The guy fixed whatever he fixed, and he did a good job. And Rabbi paid him. And when he was about to leave, this person, this guy, the guy who fixed it, told Rabbi in Polish, have a good day. So Rabbi didn't know Polish, but he answered him back the same, that he knew how to say have a good day, that he did know. So he answered that back with a big smile, and fine. When he answered him back in Polish, so the guy turns to him and says, why didn't you tell me that in Yiddish? So he says, what do you mean Yiddish? You told me in Polish, I told you in Polish. He said, yeah, but I'm a Jew. Rabbi heard the words, I'm a Jew, and his face turned pale. He sat the guy down, he brought him to eat, he brought him to drink, and he started begging him and pleading him for forgiveness. He said, I didn't know you were a Jew. If I would have known you were a Jew, I would have respected you the way I have to respect a Jew. I beg you for forgiveness. And this guy was laughing. You treated me like a king, you paid me on time, you gave me everything, you were nice to me, what's the problem? Everything's perfect, what are you asking forgiveness? Well, Rabbi saw that that's what he's answering him. He spent a half an hour, half an hour is like by us saying 6 years. Every second by him was calculated, explaining him the greatness of being a Jew. And after he was convinced that the person understood how great it is to have the zchut to be a Jew, then he said, now I want to ask you again for forgiveness. Forgive me that I didn't respect you on that level and I didn't show you enough love on that level. And finally, when the person said he forgives him, Rabbi felt calm and he left out. That was the Avat Yisrael of the great Rabbi Yaakov Yagen. Because Baruch Hu should help. Besides for lighting Chanukah candles and sitting by the Chanukah candles, this Chanukah, for once and for all, we should make a situation of Ner Ishu Beito. You have a fight with a brother, with a sister, with a friend, square it up. Nothing's going to help. These fights don't get anybody anywhere. It's just people, everybody suffers from it. It doesn't help. Square it up. Show that you actually want to be on civil terms with Klal Yisrael. Show that you want to be on civil terms first with your household. For those of us who are married, maybe for 8 days we should take upon ourselves to actually respect our wives properly. That would be a good step in the right direction. Yeah. And respect doesn't mean in your terms, on her terms. And if it costs you a little bit, so be it. It's not the end of the world. Maybe that'll help the diamond industry, Zichrono Livracha, to come have Tchiyat HaMetim. Maybe they'll have Tchiyat HaMetim. We'll start respecting our wives. We'll buy them a few things that'll help the economy a little bit. But it's not a joke. This is the Avodah of Chanukah, to be Ner Yishu Beito. A person who has issues with his parents, with his kids. Square it up. It's Chanukah. It's a time. That's the Neirot Chanukah. That's the light. It's not. There's nothing in this world worth fighting over. It's not worth it. It's just stupid. It's so trivial. It's so dumb. And most of all, not to forget, what the Sfarim HaKadoshim bring down, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to see action. And one of the greatest actions is what we talk about every single week, to be Baalei Tzedakah. And the Inyan of Tzedakah, if somebody understands, definitely Al Pi Derech HaSod, the greatest time of Tzedakah besides Vaseret Yimei Teshuvah and Erev Purim and Purim, even greater could be, according to Chaim Vital for sure, is on Chanukah. Yeah. And there's if you want to know, call me privately, there's a special thing on the 8th day of Chanukah that the person can do that can really help him in life financially, because it's put down Sfarim HaKadoshim, special tikkun that we could do based on the mitzvah tzedakah that could help a person in a big way. Ad kedei kach they took it. Even though Naftech Parasah Hashem kept by him, but again, he comes down under 10. Comes Chanukah, he says, I'm willing to give it to you too. So of course, a person should gauge, and on Chanukah should be marbeh tzedakah. Tzedakah doesn't mean to buy buildings and to build buildings for shuls. That's not tzedakah. We have too many buildings. We should sell a few of them maybe. Tzedakah is to help poor people that don't have food. Talmidei Chachamim that sit and learn all day to Atam Umanutam. They don't have a way to make Shabbat. They don't have a way to finish their day, to finish their week. To help kids that are on the streets, that they should have an opportunity to have a second chance to life. Tchiyat HaMetim, we do every single hour of the day with these kids. And today, with all the tragic stories that we know just from our friends, Tchiyat HaMetim is not an exaggeration, it's a literal word. How many friends did we lose just amongst us in the past 7 years? The tragic overdoses and suicides and other things. And these kids, with a few more dollars, we would have been able to save their lives. That's what stopped it. That we didn't have the means to get to them in time. And when we had to get to them, we couldn't get to them. This is it. This was what made the difference. What do you mean? But he got himself into trouble. So what? You come every Yom Kippur, you got yourself into trouble the whole year also. You tell Hashem, forgive me. So he doesn't deserve a second chance. The whole Chanukah is for that. That we should make sure that we help each and every one of these boys and girls. That should finally be Ubilah Mavet HaNetzach, that we should never lose another Jewish child to these tragedies ever again. It should never be such a situation. And if we'll do that, by next year Chanukah, besides being in the Beit Mikdash, each and every one of us will have a very good story to share, and I won't have to speak. You'll share your own stories. Baruchim to you, Hashem. Tonight I'm running, sorry. Oh, my announcement, I forgot. Baruch Hashem, Dani and Marina Baruch of Tzadikim put together for me, and this year, New Year's weekend this year, we're doing again a Shabbaton like we did last New Year's weekend, except it's going to be an extended one. 3 nights, 4 days. This is like almost a Chanukah, half a Chanukah.